Hi, happy Thursday. I'm gonna try and defrag my mind. I've got a sore throat as well. But I've been thinking about a lot this week, and the energy's felt heavy again, and it always seems to correlate with the weather somehow for me, and that continues my interest in the external. And I always have this battle with myself, and I feel like the kingdom of heaven is within, and that's what everything is trying to tell you. But at the same time, when your awareness rises, you want to figure out what you're within. So, like the actual fabric of reality. What is it that we live on? Because I don't personally I don't vibe with the globe model of the Earth and the solar system and the universe and the endless galaxies that we're told. I am trying to figure out a different model for myself. So I think that's what we're all individually doing. And this isn't about the flat earth, because I don't believe in the flat earth either. It's like it's all a perceptual interpretation of the inexplicable, unexplainable, incomprehensible. I feel like it's a bigger picture that we will never know, or I don't know. It's like, so how I sort of perceive reality is like that we're in a realm which looks flat to me. But within this realm there are different levels of consciousness and awareness and intelligence, or knowledge or insights, whatever. They're different and they're layered. And it's all the unseen, like the ether, the idea of the Akashic records, Rupert Sheldrake's morphic resonance theory. They all sort of, they're all really possible theories that float my boat, but I'm trying to sort of internally wangle my own idea of it all on the side as well. So it's like I'm having this spiritual awakening internally, and I know that all roads lead to this, but my intellect and my love of the mystery of life keep me pulled to trying to figure out what the fabric of reality is, or what I think consciousness is, what I think the universe is. Really, it's like, it's a question that I'll ponder for the rest of my life. I'm not expecting to find the answer soon. It's a lifelong journey. But it's more like that to me. And so I think that's where sort of simulation theory appeals to some people, because they can imagine themselves in that construct when you have a spiritual awakening and you're aware of higher levels of consciousness. And yet we're trying to interpret it all through our individual vessels of infinite variables. It's like someone's level of intelligence, somebody's level of language, somebody's level of whatever, every single thing, every experience, the gender you were born into, your star sign, your family, like everything, all your previous experiences, everything, filter down pure consciousness and sort of translate it into our own perception, our own imagination, our own reality. So I've just been fascinated with lots of thoughts recently about how subjective truth is, and I feel like it is. And it's really difficult to sort of describe your theories on what the fuck is going on, because if we're all honest, no matter what if you're looking at my channel now, I'm sure you must be thinking, what the fuck's going on in this world sometimes? Just this new level of awareness of the game, really, and how much control you can have over your own avatar. It literally is like coming to life. And it's horrifying but exciting at the same time, and you've got these tests, and it's all like, it's all being done within, but we're within this collective dream where everyone else is trying to suss it out, and usually general consensus paints the narrative, so it's a very confusing place. Anyway, I listen to Lavette sometimes, and she speaks about how the constellations are the timeline in the reality. I think that's how I interpreted it anyway. Hopefully I'm not misrepresenting it. And, you know, the ages are the reality scripts that we're sort of spun, and how our mass consciousness reacts to these things. And I really resonated with that without knowing anything too in-depth about alchemy or astrology, just how she explained it. So go and have a look at her channel, it's really good. Anyway, so she talks about the record being played above us, and, you know, so I was thinking about, there's a tiny little rainbow forming. I've been watching rainbows all day. There's been loads the last few days. Anywho, how the record's playing, you know, the reality script is in the stars, and I was thinking about how it's written in the heavens, and then I was thinking more in terms of like music, and how the word of God could be the song, the frequency that's emitting through different heavenly bodies in the sky, you know, the star systems, the planets, the things that we don't really know anything about. They're controlling the frequency of the Earth's consciousness, whether we admit it or not, and things seem to change, and that includes people that are aware of things like the Mandela effect, or people that are, you know, looking into any of these alternative theories or ponders of this nature, you know. It's all the sort of same thing. And so it's really difficult sometimes to try and articulate what I'm feeling. But this morning I woke up and I was literally thinking about what the unseen looks like in my theory, in my little view, in my perception, on my frequency. What does the unseen look like? And for me, this is why it's like I won't be pigeonholed into being a flat earther or a globe earther, because they're both a possibility and they're both a reality. There's also a million different other possible situations that we know nothing about, because we're still in infancy of exploring consciousness. I was going to say and AI then, but I don't know what I mean by that. But I guess that includes the internet and sharing of information. So we just don't know the repercussions of things yet. And I think sometimes that's the sort of threat to society, because we don't understand the repercussions of our perceptions yet as a whole. And it seems that there's just a mass awakening happening at the minute, and it's really sort of, the gap needs to be bridged, and the shift is more prominent. The veil is, you know, individually and collectively. It's like every individual that sort of shuns another part of their ego and knocks another illusionary barrier down, it's like another sort of join onto the collective cloud, and it all sort of, you know, it changes, it gets malleable. But anyway, so I was thinking about music, and I was thinking about the 5 lines on the stave, and the word stave being interesting as well, and staff, and so 5 lines, and I can sort of envisage this in terms of levels of awareness or dimensions, or, you know, a grid on which consciousness sits, It's sort of the fabric of it, and I think I've got a few notes actually. Yeah, the staff or the stave is the fundamental lattice work of music notations on which symbols are placed. And so I was just thinking about the idea that the ether is this staff or this stave or this grid, and the stars and the planets and the sun and the moon and everything, they are our song played on this stave. They're our musical notes, they're our frequencies, they're our levels of awareness and pockets of pockets of consciousness, dimensions, knowledge. And so, there's the collective song that's playing, that's resonating from the stars, and that changes every so often, and probably very long periods of time. People know about this, I don't know, you hear thousands or whatever's speculated, but the idea that it sort of comes around, things change, frequencies change, and the Earth's, the Schumann resonance is sort of spiking from what I'm aware of at the moment, or from what I've heard, and the level of conscious awareness of people awakening is quickening, and the ability to perceive the infinite is gaining momentum, and it's all an individual human's imagination and perspective filtered through our own individual egos, and experience and intellect and creativity and everything. So, it's so fucking interesting, life. But anyway, I could completely see it, like a stave in terms of invisible layers of grids, and that we emit a certain tone or frequency, so we literally vibe on the same frequency and wavelength as other people. Our perceptions and observations are more in line with somebody else's. We're experiencing a different song on the collective harmonics, really. But I feel like what the Mandela effect and this increase in shift and things like that, and what it could mean. I'm just looking at the trees outside. It's so windy and it looks like it's going to start chucking it down again. And my conservatory's got a fucking leak in it. I was sat earlier writing my notes and I felt drip on my back, and I'm like, fuck's sake. But anyway, where was I? Awakening is about raising our vibration. We feel that inside, and we understand that our thoughts create reality. And, we individually seem to understand the idea of frequency and resonance and tone, and how that relates to your body and your internal chemistry, So I just kind of feel like, yeah, like the word of God changing and the Mandela effects in regards to the change and stuff. It's like the gods are in the sky, the heavens, they are what we're not quite sure of, and what we've been told is potentially something different, in terms of what stars and planets actually are, and who knows, I don't, my mind doesn't sit within the colonies on Mars and shit like that. I can't deal with that. I think it's consciousness, which everything is emitting, and frequency and light code, and I think that's what the sun and the moon and the stars do, and it's all a positive and negative charge, which is interchangeable between humans and it, and it's this sort of this song, this dance of ever-changing awarenesses. So it's really difficult, isn't it, to put into words what you're trying to say. What am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say? That there is a collective song being played, and it's darker than we'd like. It's more of the black notes on the piano than the white notes. But the more of us face our own black notes we are free to play in the white notes, and we are free to perceive a better reality where there's less suffering and less ridiculousness. The world can be beautiful and is beautiful, but the general mass consciousness is a fucking joke, and we all find it quite difficult to sit within when we're on this journey. And I think that infighting, you know, between any of these different groups, like on this, I was listening to this guy talk the other day, and he wasn't talking about flat earth, but he's more of a flat earther. And there's these trolls coming into the live chat, and the names were like science the shit out of it and psychotic scientist, and it's like, oh, you know, there's just some war on your own senses going on, and we're getting more and more of ours switched on, and the answers aren't right and they're not coming quick enough, but, you know, will they ever, you know, because it's all an individual human perception. Humans invented duality with the imagination, the filtration of consciousness with no agenda, God being neutral, and the human vessel and spirit and soul and free will and choices that we get down here on earth, you know, they dictate everything, your imagination, and we together as humans have perceived duality and good and bad, and it's just interpretations of the self which happen through many different ways and routes, and it feels like it is God talking to you sometimes, and that's where I think like the whole sort of misunderstanding about religion is at the minute, you know, in my eyes anyway. It's like spirituality is religion in a way, in terms that it's the belief of a creator, I think, and that we are, you know, divine pieces of something much greater than ourselves, and at times we become aware of that. You know, that's the sort of feel of it all. That's even what flat earth sort of philosophy helped me open up to and confirm my inner thoughts about. It's not that I'm like going arguing with these scientists about curvature of the earth and all this shit. I couldn't give two fucks about any of that. It's the whole way it fits into everything, how it just sort of feels right, you know, and that's where you leave yourself open to be mocked, you know, until certain things come out. But it's definitely not a spinning ball, I know that. I mean, I don't know that, but I feel that, and I'm prepared to be mocked for that, but I'm not quite prepared to be like, yes, it's flat and there's a fucking ice wall around it. I'm like, no, it's like, it's the incomprehensible, it's the unimaginable, like, and we as mere little individual humans, we couldn't get close to understanding yet the sort of objective truth of everything, and we're sort of made to face down here the journey of the self, like the hero's journey, the self-awakening, the refining, to understand that we are sort of individual parts of it all. I think I went off on a ranty daydream then, and I was looking at the weather and the birds, and I wasn't really listening to what I was saying. So I hope I've said what I wanted to say. I don't know, I was just thinking, you know, that anybody who's looking into the fabric of reality or experiencing awarenesses of higher levels of consciousness, and they're just wondering what it all means, like, why does my friend not remember that, or why can't they see this in the clouds, or why aren't they having, you know, like complete heavy meditations and connections to different buckets of awarenesses, and all of a sudden, you know, you're not interested in your friends and family anymore, and you're on this complete internal solo lonely as fuck journey to make yourself a better person, to understand the nature of the universe and your place in it and what that really means. And it really is just about raising the vibration and the frequency of your own thoughts, so your perceptions manifest, and then collectively they manifest a better tune, more harmonic resonance of the earth and the stars, and that we can perceive better things and we can change things for the better. The songs are changeable. We can march to the beat of our own drum within a better harmonic. We've got these sort of conscious awarenesses now, and we don't know enough about anything yet. And so it's exciting that all these people have got their own ideas, but usually general consensus or mass media takes the narrative as the truth and weaves science in there with it, and it's sort of the layers that are being peeled back are way more to do with that philosophy and sort of programming and indoctrination and believing whatever you're told, and just sort of sort of finding your own back to stand up with, and figuring shit out on your own like people used to do back in the day, before we were all told one person's opinion on it as if it was fact, and then it gains momentum. It's all subjective. But anyway, yeah, just funny, some trolls, psychotic scientists, science the shit out of it, and it's like this battle of like scientism to sort of belittle and mock anything that they claim as pseudoscience or conspiracy. And I just can't believe and I can't see why, and I think it is happening now, why we can't all just drop our barriers and our own belief systems and our own ideologies and corroborate and collaborate all information nicely, and back each other up instead of ridiculing each other's part of their own journey. And I think it is happening. I've found some much more interesting people recently, and some more people have found my channel, and it's been quite nice to sort of because I'm not like I said, I can't talk about spirituality in the way that spirituality is sold these days. It's like I'm figuring it out and I'm documenting myself as I'm going along. It's like I don't really have I'm not in the race, you know what I mean? I'm just sort of seeing it all. So, yeah, I'm just trying to figure things out. But, yeah, it's been nice to sort of find a few new channels and connect with a few new ideas. And I'm going to post two below. Please listen to me if you get a chance. One is Brian Staveley's channel, and it was brilliant for me to hear him talk. He did sound like he was vibing on more of my wavelength. He was like a more charismatic, funny, creative version of Matt from Quantum of Conscience. No offence, Matt, if he ever watches this, which he will never. So it was really good. So if anybody watches Quantum of Conscience or Levette, have a look at Brian Staveley's channel and listen to some of his ideas, because it's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of where I'm going. It's like acknowledging this sort of self-awakening, but trying to figure out what the fuck everything else is. The external, the fabric of reality, the actual abilities of conscious awareness and what it means, where it's from. And, you know, I don't feel that there's a necessarily sinister reason behind anything. I think it's all things that we don't quite know, and it's really interesting for us to start our own individual path and quest and bring our own piece to the table. So anyway, let's all drop barriers and just sort of try and keep with a good flow of everything. And it's a shame. Everyone's trying to bridge the gap so you don't get called loony. We're just trying to explain our own consciousness and our levels of awareness in a crazy time where there's a million different crazy theories, and if anyone has an opposing one, you're nuts. So it's a delicate thing to try and get out, isn't it? Anyway, I hope I've got that out, what I needed to say. Maybe, you know, we're in a songbook, and We're all singing from the same hymn tune. Is that what they say? We're all singing from the same hymn sheet? Or is it the sheet of paper? The staff, the stave? Who knows? Oh yeah, before I go, there's another video I'm going to post underneath, and I think his name was Black Sheep Theorist or something like that, but check him out. I found him last night. And the first video that I found he'd done was about the gold bloods and sort of references to that in regards to the rhesus null, you know, the rarest type in the world. And you've got to watch this if you've got rhesus negative blood and you're interested in this, because it really sparked off some things for me and seemed to slot in a few bits as well that I'm going to be pondering for many months, I think. But he sort of figures how these golden bloods could have been the originals and that rhesus negative stemmed from them. And I was having loads of different sort of internal correlations and thoughts as I was watching this piece. But, you know, the gold blood, the Midas touch, and when this guy broke down the word rhesus, he got different interpretations and stuff. I think he did Latin as well, but one of them was the pig, and he goes into that a little bit. And then the other one was, I think it was king who became immortal or something like that. And then there's another reference to rhesus and Jesus and truth. And obviously this suits my ego because I'm rhesus negative. So sorry if you're not, I'm not trying to be. It gets me giddy, you know, these types of thoughts. And how this blood could be immortal. And if you've got rhesus null blood, I think there's only like 80 in the world or something. You get $2,500 or something like that per bag of blood that you donate. And I'm thinking to myself, fucking hell, what is in that blood? Like, what is it that makes it immortal or different or regenerating? And is it the gold within it? You know, like they call rhesus negatives copper bloods, and that's a different type of metal, isn't it? And it's all sort of conduits of energy and consciousness and information in my field. Electric, you know, it's a conduit. So the blood has been diluted down from gold to copper and then to whatever, you know, bronze, red. So anyway, I was thinking so many things about that, but you've got to watch that. And anyway, I was thinking about, because as he said resource, he said resource is from up north, and I say rhesus. So I'd not had that sort of twang before of hearing it in that accent. And I was thinking about resource, like resuscitation, resource, immortal blood, bring the blood back to life. Anyway, again, sorry if this is too, like, egoically hopeful, but the correlation between these things feels right and interests me. And, you know, healing blood, this type of thing, or different awarenesses or whatever, you know, again, without trying to sound superior, because I'm trying not to, it interests me. So check out that. Yeah. Anyway, it seems that no matter what strand you're in, whether you're purely sort of spiritual or you're looking at star seeds or anything like that, or if you're into simulation theory or Mandela effect or flat earth, whatever it is, you know, we're all on this journey together, and it's becoming interesting. It's like more players are joining the game in a way, you know, the collective consciousness is stepping up a level, peeling back their blinkers on how things actually are. Fuck off. Fucking PPI again. Go away. Yeah, so, yeah, it's just interesting to me. So check these two out, and yeah, just let me know what you think. What's everybody's sort of feels on the fabric of reality at the minute? Like, what actually is it in your opinion, and what have you found interesting on your journey so far? And anything like that, you know, it's interesting, isn't it, to swap and converse. So check these channels out and have a bloody good day. Goodbye.